Today, I'm breaking down a real coaching call with one of my clients who initially started his Faceless Instagram page using only my free YouTube content. He got to 2,000 followers on his own, but then he hit a wall. And after working together for a couple of months, he's now approaching 40,000 followers, monetizing in multiple different ways, and made over $1,200 last month. So in this video, I'm gonna walk you through the exact changes we made that kickstarted his growth. You'll see quick clips from our call, but most importantly, I'm gonna break down the reasoning behind every improvement. That way you can apply this to your own page. So Kalen runs a Christian/faith-based motivation page. He was posting consistently, applying what he learned from my free YouTube videos, and his progress wasn't too bad for a beginner. But like most creators, he plateaued and felt stuck. He had three main bottlenecks holding him back. 1, his content wasn't going viral. 2, he wasn't gaining many followers. And 3, he didn't have the proper guidance or clarity to overcome these things on his own. So this was our onboarding call, our first call together, and it was about removing all 3 bottlenecks. First, we went over his profile. If you want to grow, you can't just post more content. The way your profile looks determines whether someone who clicks on your page actually follows you or not. I emphasize this to everybody I work with. Your content gets viewers, but your profile converts viewers into followers.
This is really like the 2 most important pillars when it comes to at least growing on Instagram. The profile and the content, like those 2 pillars. The content, of course, is going to be responsible for generating the views and generating the attention, but the profile is responsible for converting that attention and that traffic into actual followers.
So the first thing about his profile that we talked about was his username, which used to be Kingdom Breathed. It had a meaning to him, which is great, but if your ideal viewer doesn't understand the meaning within 1 second, the username doesn't completely fulfill its purpose.
And it's scripture based. In Matthew 4:4, it says that man shall not live on bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. So like we're kingdom breathed. Whatever comes out of God's mouth, that's a part of our kingdom. That's where it came from.
Interesting. Okay. From my perspective, for example, what you just explained to me, like I wasn't aware of that. But do you feel like breathed is a term that would resonate and would allow your ideal viewers to understand what you mean by that? Because for me personally, I wasn't fully clear on that. So are you open to like pivoting a little bit, something that's maybe more casts a wider net and is more brandable, widely universally understood?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely open to that. I'm all ears.
Next up, we looked at his logo. It used to be a symbol that had a crown, a cross, a shield, and a sword on it, which wasn't a bad idea. He was thinking the right way, but it was too complex to look recognizable and look clean on a tiny profile picture.
So the logo is pretty clean, although I think it is pretty complex. Like there is kind of a lot going on. I'm not sure if viewers would also know what they're looking at here. Let's try to narrow it down to like maybe 2 main elements, like a crown and a cross potentially, rather than a crown, cross, sword, and like this. I would try to aim for like more of a gold, something like this maybe. Something that pops against the black background.
Now, his bio was already pretty decent. It clearly communicated the value of his page. But small adjustments could still make a big difference and overall ensure that we convert as many viewers into followers as humanly possible.
I think it's a really good starting point. It gives them a good understanding as to what they could expect from following your page and like the benefits, right? Capitalize the first letter of each word. Psychologically, it's been proven to make that easier to read. If we say join our kingdom and let's walk together, that makes a lot more sense to me. You could have a down arrow here that points towards the follow button.
So by now, we finished the profile adjustments and moved on to the content adjustments. One minor issue was regarding his watermark. It was a bit too big and a bit too low on the screen to the point where it actually would be behind the follow button on mobile.
Raise this a bit higher and decrease the size a little bit. Make it maybe 75%. Or like 60% of the size that it's right now.
Next up was his subtitles/captions. This is one of the biggest viewer experience improvements. Subtitles should ideally be placed in the middle of the screen or around the speaker's chin, as opposed to placing them awkwardly too high or too low on the screen.
Ideally, you want the captions to be like right on the speaker's chin. If you have the captions too far away from the chin, from the mouth, you're giving the viewer the option to have to look at the mouth or the captions. Whereas if it's right on the chin, they could be looking at both at the same time.
Also, he recently started experimenting with a unique filter. But his 2 highest performing reels didn't use that filter. They used a different looking filter.
Remove this filter, right? Because I think this still has a gray filter, yeah?
Yeah, that's still a cat filter. Yeah. The other one is a Instagram filter.
Okay, this gray filter looks really clean.
You want to stand firm and act like men?
I would keep that gray filter. So I'm going to say keep gray CapCut filter. Remove IG filter, keep gray CapCut filter.
Now, his most viral reel used a glowing, one word at a time subtitle format, which is proven to perform really well. but his newer ones used a different style. So instead of guessing which one would work better on his page, we decided to split test it.
There's a reason why this one performed best. This is in real time, Instagram showing us what they want from us and what our viewers want from us. This is most likely what we should try to be leaning towards, but this is also why I'm saying to split test with this one as well. Because I think this one is quite clean. I would just split test them. So what we would do is like take a look back at in a couple weeks and see which is performing better.
And one specific person named Joby Martin always performed well above average on his page. But you never want to become a fan page about one specific person and box yourself into a corner. In cases like this, it's important to find a balance.
Anytime I kind of post his stuff, people just gravitate toward, at least my audience is, I guess. I wanted to keep posting stuff from him, but I'm like, I didn't want it to become a Joby Martin page.
You definitely don't want to only post like one person and narrow yourself down to little, but you also want to take advantage of the leverage that getting this sort of engagement from this guy gives you. Still using him as like a fuel to your organic growth and getting engagement, but also continuing to sprinkle in other pastors and speakers to continue mixing it up a bit, diversifying the speakers and overall growing a brand of this faith God niche rather than a theme page surrounded by one person.
We also adjusted his background audio. He was using the same couple of audios every time. And while it fit the niche, it limited variety.
When you do your niche research, as you're looking up these high performing pages in your niche, look at their highest performing reels over the past 0 to 60 days across several different pages and save them all into like one folder. And specifically what you want to do is like take a look at the background music. You could essentially find the ones you think are going to pair the best and align best with the type of videos you're posting, but grab them from reels that already have proof of concept and have proven to perform well in the past, right? Just try to put together a folder of 4 to 6. It's worth it taking the time to find a few more viral, high-performing background musics that align. Because it's one of those things you do once and then you don't have to do it again for like months, you know?
And finally, his reel covers. We went over how to source and put together high-quality reel covers. That way his page looked more professional and visually appealing from the surface level.
The reel cover isn't going to be the make or break, but I think these overall just look higher quality anyways. Most of the time it comes down to the source. So just like looking at, sometimes you could look up their Instagram, see if they have any good pictures. Sometimes you have to look them up on like Safari or Google, and then you'll have to filter through the high quality ones. So yeah, the source is probably the most important thing there. But yeah, so these profile covers, definitely try and do more of these. Let me know if you have any questions.
By the end of our call, we had optimized his profile, improved the quality of his content, clarified his branding, and mapped out a clear viral content strategy. And when he made the adjustments we talked about, he jumped from 2,000 followers to nearly 40,000 followers in just a couple months. And now he's hitting consistent 4-figure months with his page.
But yeah, make these content adjustments, make these profile adjustments, keep me updated on the username, logo, fill out the niche research worksheet, and let me know if you have any questions in the meantime as you're doing all this.
All right, sounds like a plan.
Once you make these adjustments, just keep me updated, and then when it's time for us to jump on our next meeting, just let me know. I'll shoot you over my calendar. We'll continue with the next steps from there.
All right, will do.
All right.
Thanks for your help and time.
Now, if you're someone who's been posting consistently, you're putting in the work, but you feel stuck just like Kalen did, and overall you just don't want to waste more time doing the trial and error and doing the guesswork, and instead would rather learn from someone who's already been through it, someone who has experience and has proven to get results for himself as well as for other people, this is exactly what I could help you with. Dialing in your niche, fixing your profile, optimizing your content to go viral, and building a real monetizable brand from your Instagram page. I create a fully custom action plan that's tailored towards you, your brand, and your goals, the same way you saw in this breakdown with Kalen. Now, if you want to learn more about how I could help you out and what it would look like to work together, then feel free to take a look at the top link in the description. But keep in mind, I don't just work with anyone and everyone, so if you plan on filling out an application, I suggest to go into some detail. Aside from that, I appreciate you watching. I hope you got value from this video. If you did, feel free to like and subscribe so you see more valuable videos like this in the future. And also feel free to comment down below if you had any questions. So yeah, hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.